touche pas mon mari. Sale.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is another edition of the 6 p.m. English news over the Republican television. Let's begin right away with our headlines. The president of the Electoral Commission of the Cameroon Football Federation, Gilbert Cherik, has published the final list of candidates vying for federal positions at the Tinga Powerhouse in Yaoundé. National critical infrastructures are most often the target of hackers. Looking into this situation in Cameroon, the National Agency for Information and Communication Technologies have met this day to discuss on possible mechanisms to be implemented in order to secure the Cameroonian cyberspace. Moderators and experts in entrepreneurship have met this Thursday, November 25th, to organize the first edition of the Cameroon Entrepreneurial Crusade 2021 to guide young entrepreneurs to be self-employed in a bid to reduce poverty and unemployment. Those were our headlines. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. We'll begin the news where national critical infrastructures are most often the target of hackers. Looking into this situation in Cameroon, the National Agency for Information and Communication Technologies have met this day in a workshop with some ICT security administrators and private companies in a bid to discuss on possible mechanisms to be implemented in order to secure the Cameroonian cyberspace. We have details in the following report.
Cybersecurity is a practice of protecting network systems and programs against cyber attacks. These cyber attacks are typically aimed at accessing, modifying, or destroying sensitive information, extorting money from other users, and disrupting business processes. Implementing effective cybersecurity measures is, however, proving difficult these days as there are more devices than people in the world and attackers are becoming more innovative. It is a situation the National Agency for Information and Communication Technologies seeks to solve during a workshop that opened this Thursday, November 25th, 2021.
Critical infrastructure includes infrastructure that offers services like water, electricity. The risk are all sorts of cyber attacks, as I said, natural disaster or terrorist activities. Those are the three key risks: terrorist activities, natural disasters, and cyber attack. As far as we are concerned, our role is to prevent cyber attacks against critical infrastructures. That is why we have brought together all structures that manage critical infrastructure to brainstorm on how best to protect its infrastructure.
The National Critical Risk Assessment Workshop, which brought together ICT security administrations and private companies, has as view to brainstorm on how to protect cyber attacks against critical infrastructures.
Expectation basically is that our cyberspace will be safer and best protected to enable us guarantee the well-being and safety of our citizens and the continuous functioning, uninterrupted functioning of our economy.
With the programs put in place that will be discussed during the workshop, the director of the National Agency for Information and Communication Technologies assures the general population that there is hope to prevent these cyber attackers from any further attacks on the critical infrastructures in Cameroon.
The minister delegate at the presidency of the Republic in charge of defense, Joseph Betia-Somo, was in front of members of the Defense Commission at the National Assembly on Wednesday, November 24th. The information sharing session between members of Parliament and the Defense Board was an opportunity for him to brief on the challenges faced by the Military Engineering Corps in carrying out development and social projects in Cameroon. We have details with Isaac Ngonko.
The Military Engineering Corps has been at the forefront of major development and social projects in Cameroon for a long time now. Apart from their regular defense duties, whenever need arises, the Corps can be credited for building and constructing roads, health centers, schools, markets, and even churches all over the national territory, from north to south, from east to west. Passing through the center, the Military Engineering Corps can be seen on all fronts in Cameroon. During an information sharing session with the National Defense Commission of the National Assembly on Wednesday, the minister delegate at the Presidency of the Republic in charge of defense, Joseph Betia-Somo, detailed the achievements and challenges of the Corps. Among the challenges is the non-forgiving attitude of local populations when a project fails to be executed fully. Generally, the local population do not see the project manager when things are not going according to plan. They only see the Military Engineering Corps on the ground. If the work doesn't go to completion, the population will blame us without knowing the project manager or owner. After listening to the defense boss, the members of the committee asked questions and received answers that left them with admiration for the men and women in uniform serving the nation, not just with their guns, but with their technical know-how.
Inspiring, empowering, and strengthening young entrepreneurs in contributing to the sustainable development of the country is of great importance as it creates jobs and reduces poverty and unemployment. It is the objective of the first edition of the Cameroon Entrepreneurial Crusade 2021, organized by experts in entrepreneurship in a bid to guide young entrepreneurs to be self-employed. And Umeko took part and compiled the following report.
The level of unemployment in Cameroon remains a disturbing situation, especially when talented youths are pregnant with potentials, underutilized with aspirations to become entrepreneurs and contribute to the sustainable development of the country, are left to themselves. Needs to inspire and empower these youths.
If we brought together all these young people, it's because we find it difficult. We see young people who have good ideas and create enterprises, but when they reach on the field, they have a lot of difficulties. And today we brought some success stories, and we brought some people who have excelled in business in Cameroon and who master the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Cameroon. We brought members of government from the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise to come and talk to these young people in order to make them awaken this entrepreneurial spirit in them.
These young entrepreneurs face critical challenges in their quest for entrepreneurship.
The very first thing is, how do you nurture the business idea? How do you mature it? How do you put it into concrete businesses? How do you register your business? How do you raise funds for your business? How do you create a team? Because idea plus team equals to capital. So all of this put together, we think it's important for young people to know it. It is only when they manage their businesses well that they'll be able to create more jobs for other young people.
Youth aspiring to be young entrepreneurs must not forget the following.
Entrepreneurship doesn't necessarily mean to have an educational background. It's just for you to accept, it's just for you to be part, or to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing and you give some priorities to those things. And the other thing concerning entrepreneurship is that many young people engage into entrepreneurship. They come there because they need money. You have to be more passionate of what you're doing and make sure that what you're doing creates impact in your environment.
experts gather in a joint fight to curb underemployment during the first edition of Cameroon Entrepreneurial Crusade 2021, November 25th in Yaoundé, observed under the theme, Strengthening the Next Generation of Entrepreneurial Leaders, Changing the Mindset.
Having access to public toilet in the capital city of Cameroon is not easy for the population living there. The city center, markets and administrations are all affected by the problem. It is a scandalous situation and the population are calling on the government to do something about it, especially during the upcoming African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. We have details in the following report.
Be conveniently responded to. Presently, it is not the case in the political capital Yaoundé. Public toilets are an indispensable part of modern cities, but unfortunately, their presence is taken for granted in our cities. Consequently, every corner of buildings in the city of Yaoundé are used by the city dwellers to answer the call of nature. The few toilets spotted are grossly neglected and never cleaned. For a country preparing to host the African Cup of Nations in barely 45 days, some people say it does not paint a good image of Cameroon. Visiting some of the markets in the city of Yaoundé, one can be forced to say that public toilets are nearly inexistent in public places. They are completely absent in some places, forcing some people to relieve themselves in open areas such as gutters amid serious health issues. Nevertheless, most people still have the hope that the government will provide clean toilets in public places, especially during the upcoming African Cup of Nations in Cameroon.
The act of beating women is becoming very common in our society. Though some find pleasure in that, others think it is a weakness as it soils the image and reputation of a man. In the following report, Anne Umeko caught up with some city dwellers who gave their different opinions concerning the issue. Let's take a listen.
Crossing the red line and beating a woman for one reason or another is an act not very much appreciated by many, no matter the provocation and anger from the wife.
Violence is violence, okay? And I know that you can have all sorts of situations already. How am I going to manage this? There are too many different ways of handling a situation with your wife or with my wife that I don't need to go to that extent to lay my hands on her. In fact, this tongue is stronger than the hand. When you go to the extent of using your hands, it means that every other thing has failed. And so you're at the point of your greatest weakness. It's brain power, not muscle power that works.
Women are queens and should not be beaten no matter the reason.
Women are queens, first of all. They are our mothers, and when you look into those two aspects, the first thing you first of all make sure that you don't touch a queen, you don't touch your mother, and the third thing is that the woman is our wife. When a woman is your wife and she's the one taking good care of you, I don't see anything that will encourage you to raise your hand on her or to violate her.
An advice to men who take pleasure in beating their wives.
If it all depends on your muscle, because why not? Everybody has a muscle. And besides a muscle, today we live in a world of technology. Who is stronger is really a question of who knows what and who can better do what. It's not just a question of you're stronger than her, so you beat her. Someone else will be stronger than you. And who knows? At one point in your life, you get to be really physically weak. Women have more power, far more power than men. Sometimes they just let it happen. What if she turns around someday and just uses a knife? Then you don't have any energy. You are you're inflicted with a wound or something forever, so you don't have any energy. So be careful when you think that violence, physical violence, is your only source of strength.
We pray that God touch the mind of all these men, especially because we have been targeted as the violators, but we have many other, even the women are the perpetrators.
The act of beating a woman is a situation that keeps causing more harm than good in most families. Separation, revenge and broken homes are the result, an act worth avoiding.
The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Bairobe, has this Thursday, 25th November, granted audience to the Ambassador of Italy to Cameroon, His Excellency Filippo Camanca del Muco. Their about 30-minute discussion focused on how to develop the agricultural sector and packaging strategies to boost the economy of the country. Let's now take a listen to the Italian ambassador, carefully selected to us by Anne Umiko.
I'm representing a country with a lot of experience in the area of agro industries. We know how to pack, how to process, how to ensure that the product is well handled. We know the varieties. And this type of exercise of expertise could be of great use in the area, especially of hortofruit, where Cameroon has a lot of opportunities and could not only feed its market, but also eventually export. And through this connection between Italy and Cameroon, it is possible to support, but not on a basis of just cooperation, but on business, because we have to think more and more on business. And Cameroon has a lot of opportunity in this area. We are also dealing with cacao. Italy is a big consumer of cacao, and it is already importing a lot. But we have an investment, which is the Group Ferrero, that has invested in a production plan. The Kinder Joy that most of the people with children knows is produced today in Cameroon, and there is also a commitment of Group Ferrero with the support of the Italian Development Cooperation to improve, to prosecute a project undertaken in 2018 in the area of experimenting an improvement of the quality of the tobacco and on the quality of high level, high quality tobacco produced here.
Still in connection to that audience, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Bairobe, in the course of their discussion, expressed satisfaction with the strategies arrived at on how to boost the entrepreneurial agro sector and move towards strengthening the relationship that exists between Cameroon and Italy. Let's now take a listen to the Minister's excerpt selected by Anne Umiko.
How the government or the prices of Italy can help us to build the capacity of you and in order to make real agro entrepreneurs in Cameroon. We discussed about the processing, the packaging of fruits, of market gardening, and we are very satisfied with this discussion, and we are looking forward to conclude fruitful.
David Bailaba, a Cameroonian artist who has received a couple of awards in recognition for the job well done his musical career, has this day launched his second album, having a general message for all to follow the good will. We have details with Jan Ninkam.
The atmosphere was festive one this Thursday at the Cameroon Cultural Festival Yaoundé on the occasion of the press conference granted by David Baliaba to present his newborn baby to the entire public. Present at the conference were media men and women, fans, well-wishers to welcome the new album containing 3 tracks, having as its overall message the good way. The Bamois warrior, with his Afro-world traditional genre, sings in French, English, Eton, Yambasa, among many other languages, having a rich background of having won Best Artist at the BAM Festival Arts 2018, Revelation of Festibikutsi 2014, and Best Folklore Artist at the RK Award.
When I'm teaching, is the good place for me to to explain, to transmit what I have. Just it is in the transmission that I can do it. That's why I'm trying to continue in the way that I've tried in the beginning, in the traditional way.
When asked about the reason for his choice of music, David Baliaba says his choice is as a result of his love for his culture, giving him the obligation to portray the rich diversity the Cameroonian culture has to offer to the world at large. The music professor, through his music, is calling on all Cameroonians to follow the good way, which, according to him, is the way to righteousness.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, you're watching the 6 p.m. English news over the Republican television. Let's now talk sport, where on the high instruction of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, the Minister of State Secretary General at the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, will take part in the 13th Extraordinary General Assembly of the Confederation of African Football, billed for this Friday, 26th November 2021 in Cairo, Egypt. The Minister of Sport and Physical Education, who doubles as the President of the local organizing committee of the 2021 African Cup of Nations in Cameroon, Narcisse Moele Kombi, is part of the high-profile delegation to present Cameroon in Cairo. This is a testament of the attachment the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, has for the success of the African football competition that Cameroon will be hosting in January and February 2022 in Cameroon come next year. Let's now still on our sports page, the President of the Electoral Commission of the Cameroon Football Federation, Gilbert Shelik, has published the final list of candidates vying for federal position at the Tinga Power House in Yaoundé. 6 candidates, including Samuel Eto'o and Seydou Mbombom Joya, have been authorized by the Commission to run for the post of President, as Azingonkum tells us in the following report.
From the communique signed by the Fcfa Electoral Commission President Gilbert Shelik this Thursday, 25th November 2021, 6 candidates fulfilled the requirements necessary to run for the post of Fcfa President. They include Samuel Etofis, Jean Crepin Sote Nyamsi, Jules Denis Onana, Justin Tagu, Seydou Mbombom Joya, and Zachary Wanja. The communique also highlights the different candidates qualified to run for the post of Executive Bureau members during the 11th December polls. Some candidates have been rejected for different reasons. First, at the presidential post, the candidacies of Manuel Boyomo and Emmanuel Mabuang Kesak have been rejected for not receiving the backing of 10 required delegates and owing Fcfa the amount of 4,462,750 francs CFA respectively. Saint-Fabien Vogo and Gaspard Alexandre Oona have also seen their files rejected in their quest to be elected as Executive Bureau members. The Ethics Committee has deemed them not fit to participate in the elections since they are owing the Federation the sum of 2,190,000 CFA francs and 2,800,000 francs CFA respectively. The Electoral Commission also informed the general public that Hamadou Ousmane, who was hitherto seeking election into the Fcfa Executive Bureau as a representative of the Far North region, has decided to withdraw his candidacy. The commission, led by Gilbert Shelik, has given those who think their decisions were unjust 2 days to file in their appeals. The clock is ticking.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our 6 p.m. English news, but before we leave you, a recap of our major stories. The President of the Electoral Commission of the Cameroon Football Federation, Gilbert Shelik, has published the final list of candidates vying for a federal position at the Tinga Power House in Yaoundé. National critical infrastructures are most often the target of hackers. Looking into this situation in Cameroon, the National Agency for Information and Communication Technologies have met this day to discuss on possible mechanisms to be implemented in order to secure the Cameroonian cyberspace. Moderators and experts in entrepreneurship have this Thursday, November 25th, organized the first edition of the Cameroon Entrepreneurial Crusade 2021 to guide young entrepreneurs to be self-employed in a bid to reduce poverty and unemployment. Désigné Trésor Bonnet will be with you when it's exactly 8 p.m. for news in the French language. But until then, do stay tuned in the company of interesting programs over the Republican television. Goodbye.